for joining us with Ask a Historian. I'm Matthew Wilkinson, historian with Heritage Mississauga. Each week, we invite you to send in your questions and we'll explore the fascinating stories of the city of Mississauga together. Like, subscribe, and follow us and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. For this week's episode, we are featuring 3 inquiries we received here at Heritage Mississauga, all in a kind of a different part of Mississauga's remarkable collection of stories. The first one is from Jacob, and he is asking who Harold Kennedy is of Harold Kennedy Park in Port Credit. Harold Kennedy Park, which was formerly named Lions Park, was renamed after a beloved former local councillor, Harold L.G. Kennedy. He was well known and served for over 26 years as Mississauga councillor. Harold Kennedy passed away on March 21st of 2009 in his 83rd year. Affectionately known to many as Hal, he was predeceased by his wife Adelaide of 55 years. Harold was very involved within the community itself, and his involvement actually goes back even to his early years of youth during the Great Depression, when his mother Evelyn Kennedy had struck up or organized what became known as the Kennedy Kids, which was a radio broadcast that kind of featured the exploits or the interesting things that her many sons got into growing up in the Dixie area. Harold will be well remembered by his community, for whom he served faithfully as councillor again for over 26 years. He served as Ward 1 councillor from 1967 until 1994 and returned to council briefly in 1997 to serve as Ward 5 councillor following the passing of Councillor Frank McKechnie. So Harold's career really spanned before the city of Mississauga, the township of Toronto, into the town of Mississauga, and then of course, to the city of Mississauga. Among Harold's many commitments and passions, he was a strong supporter of St. John Ambulance. He was very much involved with the development of Lakefront Promenade Park, also in the protection of the Cawthra Woodlot, the Rotary, Lions Club, Credit Valley Conservation Authority, the Port Credit Arena, the Traffic Safety School Patrollers Program, the Ontario Traffic Safety Council, and he was a director at Trinity Anglican Church in Port Credit. Harold also served as an honorary director of Heritage Mississauga for 3 years, from 1982 to 1985. A plaque honoring Harold was placed in Bruckner Rhododendron Gardens in Port Credit, a garden park that came into being in large part due to the efforts of Councillor Kennedy. Harold followed in the tradition of public service within the Kennedy family, led notably by his uncle Thomas Laird Kennedy, T.L. Kennedy, after whom T.L. Kennedy Secondary School in Cooksville is named. So Harold himself, the Lions Park in Port Credit was renamed in his honor and known today as Harold Kennedy Park. Our second question today comes from Jasmine. She is asking about the Korean War Memorial Wall in Meadowvale. The Korean Veterans Association of Canada erected a wall of remembrance to the 516 Canadians who are commemorated in the Korean War Book of Remembrance. The Korean War took place between 1950 and 1953, with an armistice being signed in 1955. 26,791 Canadians served during the Korean War, with 516 Canadians losing their lives. The Canadian-Korean War Memorial Wall is located within Meadowvale Cemetery in Brampton, just to the north of Mississauga. The wall was dedicated on July 27, 1997. The memorial wall is 200 feet long and contains plaques for all 516 Canadians who died during the conflict, including one from here in historic Mississauga. The wall came about through the efforts of Unit 57 of the Korea Veterans Association. In terms of Mississauga connections, we have one known casualty who lived within historic Mississauga who lost his life during the conflict. Leon Armand Gauthier, who was born on July 29, 1931, was the son of Herman Joseph and Edna Gauthier of Lakeview. The family also consisted of siblings John, Donald, Lawrence, and Robert. In 1949, Leon Gauthier enlisted with the Royal Canadian Navy, and he was aboard the HMCS Nootka when she departed Halifax in November of 1950 for service in the Korean War. Ordinary seaman Gautier was washed overboard and lost at sea on January 11th, 1951, as the HMCS Nootka was sailing between Pearl Harbor and Korea. He is remembered at the United Nations Memorial Cemetery in Busan, South Korea, and also at the Korean War Memorial at the Naval Museum in Alberta. He's also listed in the Korean War Book of Remembrance, and of course, there is a plaque to honor his memory at the Korean War Memorial Wall in Meadowvale Cemetery in Brampton. So, Jasmine, thank you for that. Our last question this week comes from Frank, and he is asking quite simply, where was Dixie Arena Gardens located? Give you a little bit of background history first. Dixie Arena Gardens was the first indoor ice rink in historic Mississauga. The arena opened on December 16th of 1949 and became home to the Dixie hockey teams, known as the Staffords and, of course, the legendary Beehives. The building of the arena was very much a grassroots endeavor spearheaded by local businessmen, and funds were raised by the selling of shares to residents and local merchants. The arena closed in 1986 and later became home to the Astrolite Dance Hall before it was demolished in 1996. The site is now home to condominiums. To locate where the arena stood is actually fairly simple on our landscape. Just to the west of Dixie Road, running north off of Dundas Street, is a street appropriately named Arena Road. And Arena Road led into what was the Dixie Arena Gardens site. And the arena itself was located near where Arena Road and Dundix Road intersect. There is a plaque commemorating the arena to the entrance of the new condominium development, which stands on the site of where the arena was originally located. To learn more about the arena, we highly recommend a book by local author and historian Dave Cook, and the book is entitled From Frozen Ponds to Beehive Glory, The Story of Dixie Arena Gardens. And again, that is by Dave Cook. So with that, we thank you once again for joining us for another episode here on Ask a Historian. Please keep sending in your questions, and we'll keep exploring the fascinating stories of the city of Mississauga together. Like, subscribe, and follow us, and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. And we will see you next week with another episode of Ask a Historian.